Yo, what's good? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Like, I just had to run up the stairs because I forgot my beverage. Y'all know your boy be getting parched up here. Damn, 2 flights of stairs. That shit was no joke. But anyway, anyway, today we're going to recap 3 stories that we talked about previously. And it's going to be an example of when law enforcement and the justice system get something that is obvious right done correctly. And then there's also the flip side when they get something that's obviously right done incorrectly. It's obvious you should do this and they fail to do this. It's actually pretty disgusting. We're going to talk about it, and I want to know y'all take on it. As always, I'm Marcus. Here we do attorney reactions to current events and trending news. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And as always, got to give a round of applause for the person who drops the first comment of the day. Salute to you, Maddie. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what is going on. We're going to head down to the boot. We're going to head down to Louisiana, and we're going to talk about why you shouldn't. And I talk about this all the time. I don't know what it is with everybody wanting to go on social media when you're charged with a crime or when you're accused of a crime or you're on the run. Just don't do it. Literally, when I was a defense attorney and I would have a client, some crazy stuff happen, I would literally say to myself, well, let me go on their social media and see what happened the day of the offense. One, nobody makes their social media private. And two, sure enough, literally 97.9% of the time when I would go to their social media, it would be something talking about what's happening, what about to happen, or what had happened the day before. Either way, it's something bad that implicates things. Let's pick it up in New Orleans. We were talking about the inmates who escaped, were helped. They got a lot of women helping them out. One guy who works at the jail said he was threatened to be stabbed, so he cut the water off so they could move the toilet out the way and escape, which is crazy work. If all you got to do is remove one toilet to escape from a correctional facility, that's probably a shitty, that's probably a piss poor, terribly designed correctional facility. But let's pick it up with the inmates. I believe there are 2 now who are still on the lam on the run. Let's pick it up with one inmate who decided to jump on a live stream. And I'm going to tell y'all why this is bad, why it's dumb, and we're going to dive in. Let's get it.
WWL Louisiana News at 5 begins with breaking news.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news about Antoine Massey, one of the 2 Orleans Parish jail escaped inmates still on the run. Authorities are now reviewing an Instagram post in which a man who calls himself Antoine Massey speaks at length about the escape and some of the previous charges against him. Investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein joining us now in studio to talk about all these dramatic developments. Mike.
Well, that's right, Devin. We have confirmed that federal and state law enforcement authorities are reviewing this social media post, and they are taking it seriously. In the Instagram post, which appears to be recorded as it plays on a cell phone, a person with Massey talks about being let out of the jail, names a female who was arrested for accessory to his escape, and claims his innocence on domestic violence charges he is facing in both Orleans and St. Tammany parishes. He also shows court paperwork regarding his cases. Here's a portion of the video being scrutinized by law enforcement.
Okay, real quick, let's talk about a few reasons why this is probably not the smartest thing to do. One thing that law enforcement is going to do is they probably went to all of this dude's friends, family members who are in the area. There's actually a way they can throw your name in a search and see who all your aliases are and known accomplices and known associates and friends of friends of friends. So I'm sure they probably went to all those places. So one of the first things they're going to do that is obvious is they're going to take a look at the background in that video and pray to goodness that it reminds them of a background to a place they visited. More importantly, they're going to take a look at that video and they're going to scrub the metadata. What is metadata? All right, real quick. I guess the best way to describe it is, let's say you got a spiral notebook, right? And I write, and when I write, I press down real hard and I'm writing a whole page. I write a whole page of notes just about my day on this page. And I rip that top page off and ball it up and throw it away. Metadata is the imprint that's behind the actual electronic footage, the electronic file, whatever it is. So if you have a text message, a picture, you know how you take a photo and in that photo you can click on it and it will show your location, the time, the date, your GPS coordinates. Every electronic medium has some form of metadata that could potentially show the author, whose phone it is. It has a shitload of information. So I'm sure that stream that he did on IG Live is going to get scrubbed for all of the metadata in an effort to be able to. Oh, man, what is going on? Ridiculous. All right. My fault. All right. So all of that digital evidence is going to get scrubbed for metadata so they can find out information, not from the actual video itself, but from the impression and the data behind the video. It's like I said, if you write on a spiral notebook real hard and you throw the top page away, you can still see the imprint of what was written and kind of figure it out. Is the exact same things with electronic media. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Mr. Massey had to say.
Going to do. My name is Antoine Massey. I'm one of the ones that was let out on News Parish jail on what they did. I see, right? All right, what I want to talk about today is that I learned that they locked the woman up for saying that she was supposed to be helping me in Indonesia. Her name is right. Now, is the victim to my case in St. Tammany. What they say, the kidnapping, the second-degree rape, the second-degree kidnapping.
Now, the video goes on for many more minutes and covers a wide range of topics, including requests for help by everyone from rappers to President Donald Trump.
Hey, shout out to him for asking for help. Don't nobody help this dude. Well, you can help him if you want. Just be willing to know that you're going to go sit down for 5 years. That's actually crazy work. Bro was better off. He was literally better off just being quiet, not doing this video, not potentially disclosing his location. Now his chances of getting caught have went up dramatically, in my opinion.
And as you saw, this person calling himself Antoine Massey knows all about the specific charges being faced by the escapee, as well as the arrest of an alleged accomplice. Once again, Devin, we have confirmed that this video is in the hands of state and federal law enforcement, and they are taking it very seriously.
And there's a lot for them to digest here. So what can law enforcement do with this social media post?
Well, that is an open question, obviously a good one, and they're pouring all over it. Instagram accounts can be set up instantly, almost like a burner phone. However, the video itself could contain metadata, which could be mined to trace to some IP address, to perhaps pinpoint who shot the video.
Yep, exactly what I said. So this was, what's going on, Molly? I appreciate you tuning in, sis. This was an extremely bad move by this guy going on live stream. It probably increased his chances that he's going to get caught, I don't know, ×2, ×3. Like I said, the video isn't really that big of a deal unless they can see an image in the background or something where they can locate them. But it's more about the metadata to the video. That stuff that is contained in that image of that picture that you don't see when you look at the picture, such as the location, the IP address, the date, the time, all of that stuff is in there, and it'll probably lead him to getting jammed up. He probably shouldn't have did this. Generally, when you're accused of anything or you've actually done something, this gentleman said he didn't escape. He said he was let out. They could have opened the door for you. If you walk out that door, you broke out of prison. You broke out of jail. Nobody is nobody want to hear it. That's just kind of what it is. But it's a stupid move. Probably going to get caught in the next. What's today? Wednesday. Probably before next Monday. This is probably going to be his untimely demise. And anyone who helped him, I know probably won't be President Trump, because I believe these are state charges, if I'm not mistaken. If they're state charges, there's really nothing President Trump can do to help him. But if you elect to help Mr. Massey on his attempt for help, rappers, anybody out there, just know that you could be opening yourself up to exposure of 5 years in custody. There's a lot better ways to help out Mr. Massey if you want to, but by aiding and abetting his escape is probably not the best one. How about getting him a real lawyer who could actually take some time with his case? Might help. Probably not, because this is just going to compound it, but it is what it is. All right, now this next story is an interesting story, because I don't know if you all remember, I did a video on twerking death. It was like, for some reason, a lot of Black women were dying in events surrounded around twerking, which, you know, we all love a good twerk. Who doesn't? But it was ridiculous. One young lady was twerking on a vehicle, fell off, was struck by a fire truck that was responding to a call. Her parents was on the news. I think she had just turned 18. It was a sad story, terrible story, but a cautionary tale of sometimes things that look fun aren't necessarily fun. The other twerking story we looked at, it was interesting because it was about a young lady who was twerking in front of a vehicle that was purportedly driven by one of her friends, and she was struck and killed. Great news, an arrest was made. It was clearly freaking obvious. Let's go ahead and, you know what? Let's go ahead and cue up the video first before we jump in.
New tonight at
All right, let me see. I want to see if I can find a still image. We're going to leave that image up right there. Pause the video. And let's do it. We're going to do it just like that. Okay, we're going to leave that image up right there. And that is Amaya Cunningham. Rest in peace to her. She's the decedent in this entire thing. Just a little bit of background so we know what was going on. Long story short, there were a multitude of friends, as we all have done and shit still do now. You pregame before you go out and turn up. Yo, we're going to go to the spot. But before we go, let's go to, everybody going to meet up here. We're going to get nice, then head to the spot. So her and her friends, 2 guys, and 4 women. 2 guys and 4 women, I believe, were pre-gaming to go to a club in Georgia. They wanted to go and have a good time, rightfully so. They leave in 3 separate vehicles. The 2 gentlemen drive in one vehicle. A black SUV is driven by a young lady by the name of Alexis Larkin, who we're going to talk about a little bit more. And then in the third vehicle were 2 other women and the decedent Amaya Cunningham. Now, as they were going convoy style in the club, vehicle number 1, which was contained the 2 gentlemen, they missed their exit. They out of the picture. Vehicle number 2, black SUV, being driven by Alexandria Larkin. And then vehicle number 3 is the vehicle that contains the decedent, Amaya Cunningham, and 2 other women. At some point during this ride, Amaya sends a text message to the gentleman in the car and says, yo, the vibe is off in this car. I should have rolled with you all. Now, before they left to head out convoy to the club, something caused a rift between something caused a rift between Amaya Cunningham and Alexandria Larkin. I'm conflicted on what that was. According to reports, it looks as if one person didn't want to leave yet, and the other person was ready to go turn up, and this caused a beef or whatever. It caused some type of strife. So what happens? Black SUV is at a light. Amaya Cunningham gets out of the car that she's in, proceeds to start twerking in front of the black SUV that her purported friend, girl who she had a little tiff with before they left, is driving that vehicle. runs her over, hits her with the car, flees the scene, come back to the scene a couple hours later with her husband. The two women who were in the car with the decedent, they tell the cops that, hey, we don't even know who this lady was who got hit. She was just an innocent bystander. The two gentlemen in the car had actually made statements that they circled back around, made a U-turn, and they identified that their friend was in the street hit by the car. One of the gentlemen said he was so distraught he just still went to the club and got drunk because he didn't know how to deal with the grief, which is a whole nother story. But those were essentially the facts. Now, when we saw this, and I'm probably not going to play the video because YouTube get a little bit funky, it was clearly obvious. If someone is standing in front of your car and you hit them, you've either committed an intentional act or you committed an involuntary manslaughter where you were doing something lawful, driving a vehicle, but in a manner that was reckless and somebody died. It's either one of the two. This woman, Alexandria Larkin, should have been charged immediately. She was free to go for 3 weeks. Initially, cops didn't do anything. They said it was no crime. It was no negligence. It wasn't until social media started making an uproar as to how blatant this was. And 3 weeks later, the cops finally decided to get off their ass and they filed charges against Alexandria Larkin. She was charged with homicide by a vehicle in the first degree and leaving the scene of an accident. She could be looking at anywhere between 5 to 20 years in custody, all which would be warranted. Let's take a look at this story real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. But this is an instance of law enforcement doing some goofy shit in the beginning because they should have charged this woman immediately, but at least they circled back around and they got it right. So, I mean, I got to give them partial credit for getting this one right because it was patently obvious.
Tonight at 11, Forest Park police make an arrest in a deadly crash that killed a 25-year-old woman at the end of April. Now, this comes nearly 3 weeks after investigators said they found no negligence or foul play in the crash at Forest Parkway and Frontage Road. Last week, we spoke to Amaya Cunningham's friends and family who say she was killed by a woman who was in the group that she was with that night. Tonight, we can confirm that woman is arrested in connection to her death. Forest Park police booked Alexandria Larkin yesterday. Cunningham's family says Larkin knowingly hit the 25-year-old at the intersection after she started dancing in front of the car and left her in the middle of the road. Now, the crash was caught on camera and quickly circulated online. We have that video, but we're not showing to you out of respect for the family. Larkin is now charged with homicide by vehicle in the first degree and leaving the scene.
Okay, so real quick, I will actually link the video I did where we talked about this initially and why she should have been arrested initially soon as this happened. And in that video is actual footage of what would happen, so you'll be able to see it. I'm not going to play it on this video. But again, the cops started out on some, this is showing my age, on some Barney Fife goofy cop stuff, but they actually circled back around. It took them too damn long, but after 3 weeks, they filed charges. It should have been done immediately. There's no way you can be at a stoplight and run into someone, hit them, and drag them, and you aren't arrested for a crime. It may not be intentional, but it's definitely some type of involuntary manslaughter. So the cops circled back around. They got this one actually right. I think the next shoe to fall in this, for me, the two young ladies who were in the car with Amaya, who lied to authorities and told authorities that they didn't know Amaya. She was just a random citizen walking through a walkway. Hey, they need to go back, circle back, jam them up too, because it was no reason that this young lady should have died. I'm going to say this. Hey, ladies. Now, ladies, there's a pattern of women who go out for a good time with what they believe to be their friend, and women end up dead. You go out, they go, I've been saying, I mean, we've seen these videos. Women's going out of the country and they get into a beef with their girlfriend and everybody back in the country except this person. Like, the shit is just getting crazy. Real talk, ladies, y'all should keep y'all head on the swivel. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, fellas could be hanging out, a beef can ensue, somebody can get deleted. It happens. But if most times what's going to happen with guys is somebody going to get shot, somebody going to get shot, or we just going to fight and somebody get their ass whipped. It's either one or the other. Isn't that going to be like, hey, man, I bet you won't ghost ride the whip. And when you out there walking in front of your car, somebody mow your ass over. But this is a ridiculous pattern that we've been seeing of women who are all supposed to be friends, going out on girls' trip, having a good time. Some beef or something happens, and someone ends up dead, or someone doesn't make it back from overseas. It's kind of goofy. Keep your head on the swivel out there, just everybody in general. And I don't know if y'all, like where I'm from, that was kind of one of the plays they would get you on. Like if somebody really didn't rock with you, y'all are getting ready to go somewhere, and then make sure you get all the alcohol you want, all the liquor and weed you want. And as soon as you nice and twisted and you feeling right, that's when whoever that had that problem is going to try to get at you because they know you in a vulnerable position. So if you out with people who, fake friends is everywhere, but keep your head on the swivel. Try to use good judgment. And as for me, if I decide to drink and get nice, I'm never getting to a point where, I don't got my faculties about me and I can't handle business. And generally, if I do get to a point where I can't handle business, I'm in a controlled environment where I don't got to worry about somebody snaking me like that. I think that's a good cautionary tale for everyone. And again, this is a good example of cops and law enforcement who were a little bit incompetent in the beginning, but because of social media and some other investigative efforts, they circled back and made the right decision. Now, I want to pull up a comment before we get in our next story, because this one, I want to take y'all back so we can know exactly who Mr. Telvin Osborne is, because we got to talk about Mr. Telvin Osborne, and I think the best way to do it is to put up a post that he made so we can know exactly who he is. Let's go ahead and throw that up. Let me hit this comment up real quick. What is going on, our roaster? I appreciate you for tuning in. Or somebody push you into someone else, getting on the school bus to start a fight. Yeah, that happened already. Yeah, I was actually speaking to somebody being pushed. That you reminded me. I was going to do a video about the congresswoman who was arrested for assault on an ICE official. That was actually kind of goofy. I might still do it because this one's going to be short. But hey, you 100% right. You just got to be careful. Everybody ain't your friend. Some people are associates, and even friends and associates could be grimy as hell. All right, so let's take a look at this comment so we can know who Mr. Telvin Osborne was at some point. Hey, rest in peace to him because he's no longer with us after being deleted. But to get the full context of the story and what I know a lot of sisters are saying, because I spoke to some sisters and they like, that's what you like. It is what it is, which is terrible. But people are entitled to their opinion. Let's take a look at Mr. Osborne's comment here. This is a comment that he made on his social media that was brought back up after he was deleted by his girlfriend, who is of the Caucasian white woman, Hannah Cobb. He says, I'm not even going to read it because I don't want to read all this nonsense. I'm just going to leave it on the screen, okay? But this is verified as his account. This is something that he said. So now that we know what he said, let's go ahead and pull up before we get in the video, let's get a little bit of background. Okay, you have the decedent, Telvin Osborne. He was in a relationship with Hannah Cobb, who is a white woman. He's a black guy. They have 2 small children together. In February of this year, Mr. Osborne was shot and killed. Now, it could be a bunch of reasons why he was shot and killed by his girlfriend, but let's just talk about it. Hannah Cobb told police initially and on the 911 call, I was going to play it, but it was too much. But she told police initially and on a 911 call that it was an accident. Okay. Her statement to the cops was corroborated by what she said at 911. And the cops did not initially classify this death as, anything. They were like, you know what? We don't know. We have to look into it. But the accident was a little wild because she said that after being out on the town, partying, having drinks, they came back home. She does something that she always does. She was cleaning her firearm because she does this every day, which is cap. I'm a firearms guy. Like, hey, if this wasn't, hey, I'm a firearms guy. I don't clean my firearms every day. Nobody is cleaning their handgun every day. So the fact, as soon as she said that, I'd have been like, this heifer's, we got to look into her. I think she's lying. But she said she cleaned her firearm every day. While she was cleaning her firearm, she accidentally discharged it. It struck Mr. Osborne, led to his untimely demise and or deletion. Now, there's a few reasons why that don't make any sense. One, no one cleans the same gun every day. Now, if I had a shitload of guns, I may clean different guns every day, but I'm not going to clean the same gun every day. That's crazy work. It makes no sense. Two, if I actually do clean my gun every day, you should have been in the habit of making sure that you cleared the chamber. There was no round in the chamber before anything. If you did that every day, and every day for however many years, months you had this damn gun, you never shot off a round, it becomes muscle memory. It becomes second nature. You're automatically going, check the weapon, drop the magazine, rack the round, look in it, observe, no round is in the chamber. So it's a stupid ass excuse that is bullshit in my opinion. Hey, she's free, but I think it's cap because it's a stupid excuse because it makes no sense. No one cleans the same damn gun every day. And if you were cleaning the same gun every day, you would have enough muscle memory to know not to leave a damn round in it. Okay. But after the cops did some digging, now, again, this woman, no charges. You just have this guy who was deceased, this woman who shot him, said it was an accident. Shit didn't make no sense. All was well in her world. What they later found out was that an altercation occurred before they got home. They were actually having some drinks, and during the course of having some drinks, they got back home. Things got a little wild. Okay. Now, investigators asked the Cobb family, this is the, that poor white woman, they asked her, tell us about the relationship between your daughter and Mr. Osborne. Her family essentially said that the relationship was chaotic and abusive. Now, I don't know if that's the case. It seems fitting that the relationship is described by the person who shot the individual who's no longer here as chaotic and abusive. Because, hey, if just as a matter of course, that's what you're going to say to make the whole thing make sense. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Ring camera footage actually caught Hannah Cobb telling her boyfriend, who was exactly, they said it was, I'm assuming if they asked her parents said, couched it as if she was the victim of abuse. But ring camera footage actually caught Hannah Cobb telling her boyfriend Osborne to leave. Now, this is weird because I don't understand this. I'm just telling y'all what was reported, and it makes no sense to me. Osborne left, and according to Cobb, he came back and threatened her with a knife. Now, this is interesting because if the ring camera footage catches him leaving, I'm interested in what was the footage when he came back. Was it a ring camera doorbell? If you caught him leaving, you should have that same footage coming back. But the way it was written in every article, it's according to Cobb, she said that he came back and threatened her with a knife. At some point when he was coming back or either back at the residence, Cobb says she sent a text message to his parents. She actually called Osborne's mother to try to de-escalate the situation. Okay, I personally would like to hear from moms to corroborate that, but I'm assuming the cops did their due diligence and said, oh, if you said you called moms, let's look at your phone record, see if it was a call to his moms, and talk to moms about what happened. Okay, so according to Cobb, she asked him to leave. He comes back. She calls his mama, trying to smooth things over. When he comes back, he has a knife. He threatened her with the knife. And at some point, she says that at some point, Osborne texts Cobb and said, you better hide. So Cobb says that she told investigators he forced his way inside. She locked herself into the bathroom. Osborne kicked in the door, and that's when she fired a single shot that struck him center mass, essentially. And on those facts, okay, now a lot of that is new information, right? When we first reviewed this story, we just had the stupid ass excuse of I was cleaning my weapon, it accidentally fired, shot him in the chest, and he died. What the conclusion was at that point, at a minimum, she should have been charged with involuntary manslaughter immediately and we looked it up in the state where they lived at, engaged in a lawful act in a negligent manner that caused a homicide or death to occur. I think that is absolutely obvious. Here's where it gets wild, okay? In the twerking case, the cops fucked it up, but they came back and got it right and charged the person who needed to be charged. Here, the grand jury declined to indict. They came back with no bill, no charges will be filed. And from the talks of the prosecutor, it appears as if he's not even going to try to present any additional evidence to the grand jury. Now, this is absolutely the craziest shit that I ever heard. We're going to talk about it. Let me check this comment real quick. So what does the nightly gun cleaning have to do with this? Well, what it has to do with this is I'm shocked at how the grand jury came back. They were looking to get an indictment for involuntary manslaughter, engaged in a lawful act, and you engage in a lawful act and you do something negligently, but someone dies. At point A, when the shooting first happened, her argument was that there was an accidental discharge from cleaning their weapon. Now the story is this guy was abusive. He came back with a knife. She locked herself in the bathroom. He kicked the door in. She felt scared. He shot her one time. She shot him one time. He's deleted. He's no longer here. This is super rare. It's super crazy. Honestly, a good majority of the public is actually at arms over this, as they should be, because they believe it's a miscarriage of justice. This is super rare for a prosecutor to present a case to a grand jury and come back without a true bill. This is like, honestly, the way grand juries work in their state is just the prosecutor talking to the jury, presenting the evidence. There was enough evidence here, in my opinion, to, at a minimum, get a true bill for indictment for involuntary manslaughter. That's just my thought. I don't know. I don't believe that you were cleaning your fucking gun. In addition, the fact that your story changed from point A, your story was an accident, to point B, now it's self-defense, it makes no sense. So I guess the question would be, well, why did the jury come back with a no bill? Why didn't they come back with a true bill? The jury said, oh, it's not enough evidence to indict her for even an involuntary manslaughter. Because we all know, I think we all agree, that the argument about cleaning your weapon was bullshit. But the grand jury, like I said, has only presented the evidence that's favorable to the state's prosecution. They chose the lightest thing that they could indict her with to potentially try to get an indictment on, which was the involuntary manslaughter. I think that there was enough evidence for her to be indicted on involuntary manslaughter. I'll be honest, I think that there was enough evidence to actually indict her for a murder. I think there was enough evidence to get a true bill, indict her, and charge her with a murder, and she can go in front of the jury and make her case. I don't know. This is absolutely insane. Prosecutor, try again. I don't think the prosecutor is going to try again. The language I saw, the prosecutor essentially said, you know what? At this time, there's no criminal culpability. He didn't sound too ecstatic about. Normally, when prosecutors get a fail, they like, we aren't done. He did not seem like he was even interested. And the way he acted and these facts being so terrible for Hannah Cobb, I actually believe that he probably did a half-assed job presenting the evidence to the grand jury. There is no way you can't get a true bill. Now, she may not have been convicted in a jury trial, but there was clearly enough evidence to indict her for, at a minimum, an involuntary manslaughter. All of the facts here are really bad for her. Her story was inconsistent. She lied about it in the beginning. She changed her story. I don't believe there was a history of any documented abuse, because if there was, that probably would have been in the article, in my personal opinion. And had the true bill came back, had she actually went to trial, her facts are so terrible. I would not have wanted her to go on the stand to testify, because, again, inconsistent story makes no sense. Once she gets on the stand and they cross-examine her to make her appear dishonest because she switched up her story, she would actually be screwed because of those contradictory statements. Now, someone did ask me, hold on, let me play this short video first, just outlining what was going on in this case. And then we are going to jump back into it. But this is actually a crazy story. Oh no, I got it jacked up. Hold on, let me pause that. Let's pause that. Hold on. My bad. I had it all jacked up. I forgot I had the text messages on this. I had the Instagram post about how he hates sisters and love white women. Okay, let's go ahead and check this out.
Thanks, Michaela. A huge development this evening in a Burke County case we've been following since February. A grand jury, has chosen to not indict Hannah Cobb, who was accused of shooting and killing 30-year-old Telvin Osborne. Now, this all went down on February 23rd at a home on 4 Points Road. Hannah Cobb was later charged with felony involuntary manslaughter. In a press conference, the Burke County Sheriff later confirmed that there had been an altercation before the shooting and drinking was involved. There were two different stories told in Hannah Cobb's bond hearing. One where Cobb claimed that the gunfire was accidental, and another where there was an altercation. Cobb's defense says Cobb lied in her initial 911 call and says the shooting was in self-defense. They say Osborne had a large knife and was threatening her. The latest news is that in late April, a Burke County grand jury decided not to indict Cobb, which now means the case is closed. That does not mean that formal charges won't be brought up in the future or could be brought up in the future. But District Attorney Jared Williams says the case is done for now. The grand jury has spoken.
Augusta still working.
That's actually crazy. These are terrible facts. What's going on, Harley D? I appreciate you tuning in. I'm just saying, brothers, he said in plenty of tweets that he loved the way the snow bunnies do it. Hey, shout out to you, but I don't know. I think this has a really big racial undertone in it. I think that the fact that they didn't get a true bill on these facts is absolutely ridiculous. And the only reason, in my personal opinion, I think that happened is because the prosecution doesn't want a true bill. Now, she had an inconsistent story. And somebody who sent me this asked me, is it possible? I thought this was a good question. I didn't even think about it. Is it possible, can self-defense and an accident be true simultaneously from a legal position? And I was like, that's a good question. Again, now this is just a question for a hypothetical. She had a fake scenario, according to her, and a real scenario. Her BS story was that it was an accident. She was cleaning her gun and killed this guy by mistake. Her story that allowed her to get a no bill with the grand jury was that it was self-defense. This brother stormed in with a knife. No evidence of abuse. Evidence of abuse documented doesn't mean that there's not abuse, But I'm just saying, the facts are, if there was documented abuse, I'm damn sure they would have threw that shit in there with this black guy and this white woman, in my opinion. But let's just think about this hypothetically. Can self-defense and an accident be true simultaneously? I could see a scenario where it is true. I guess the scenario would be, what would a scenario be? If a person feels threatened, so they pull out a firearm only to brandish it, but not actually shoot someone. And they're like, stay away, I'll shoot. And somebody's like, you ain't gonna do shit. And they walk up and try to grab the gun or tussle over the gun or knock the gun out of their hand, and it goes off. That would be a situation where, okay, it was self-defense, even though the discharge of the firearm was accidental, but the argument would be you had some immediacy, some immediate threat of bodily harm or death or something to that effect. I think that her best, had this proceeded to trial, which it should have, shame on the prosecutor for not doing his job for real. Had this proceeded to trial, I think her best opportunity would have been jury nullification, convincing 2-3 people that this was actually self-defense. I'm just going to be honest. If I'm on a jury and you told story A before, now you're telling story B, the fact that you had 2 inconsistent stories, the fact that there's no documented proof of abuse, is giving kind of weak sauce. I think the best she would have done, had she actually been indicted and went to trial, would have been trying to convince a couple of people that it was, in fact, self-defense. I don't think there's no way she would have got a not guilty. I just don't think that this story would have been enough to get a not guilty. But, I mean, shit, these facts were enough to not get her indicted, not get a true bill by the grand jury. So it might have been legit. Again, people are protesting results. But I would say in a situation like this, there's actually nothing you can do to protest the results. The prosecutor went to the grand jury. He clearly didn't want, in my opinion, the grand jury to come back with a true bill, because it's easy as hell. If it's just me as the prosecution and I go to the jury and I just only give them evidence of what you did and how you're guilty, how the hell aren't they going to come back with a true bill? It don't make any sense. The only way they not come back with no true bill is if I don't want them to, because I present half-ass evidence and half-ass facts. So there's no way to really protest a prosecutor. The only way to protest a prosecutor is in a couple years, when it's time to have elections, get them up out of there. You can get them up out of there. It'll still be ripe to actually move forward with an indictment. It won't be any statute of limitation issues. But I'm skeptical about this whole process. I'm actually kind of disturbed by it because I think it's bullshit, in my personal opinion. But these are 2 situations. First situation with the twerker who was hit by the car driven by a woman she thought who was her homegirl. Cops fucked it up in the beginning. They went back and did the right thing. This situation, cops fucked it up in the beginning because they should have charged her initially. She should have been arrested the day of on involuntary manslaughter. She wasn't. It went to the grand jury. Grand jury said no true bill. And now, for the time being, it looks like Hannah Cobb is just, out and about, free to roam, and just out here chilling. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. I think this is a travesty of injustice. Is there a racial component to it? Yes. Does race play into it? Yes. It just is what it is. There's no way. If this shit was inversed, oh man, somebody be in jail. I believe wholeheartedly, if we just flip the roles around, definitely if it was a black guy who randomly, accidentally, or self-defense shot some white woman, you going under the jail. But if we just inverted not the genders, if we just inverted the colors of the persons that play. If Hannah Cobb was a sister and Mr. Telvin Osborne was a white guy, do you think that the outcome to the grand jury would have been the same? you think the outcome would have been the same? You think the grand jury would have came back and been like, nah, it's not enough? I don't know. For me, I think it's kind of skeptical. It's terrible that we have these things that seem so obvious as crimes that don't get rectified and justice isn't served. So, I mean, Mr. Osborne, his family just got to eat this loss for the time being. There's a possibility they could try to put it back in front of the grand jury. I seriously doubt if this prosecutor do it. Maybe if a new prosecutor is on the scene, he'll probably try, but I seriously doubt it. Terrible story. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Before we get out of here, I just want to give a quick church announcements. I used to do a lot of impromptu live streams on random days. That's probably going to be a little bit less because your boy started classes this week. So I'm doing biology and anatomy, some science classes. For those of y'all who members, y'all know why after 15 years I decided to go back to school. There's always a reason behind it, and the reason is always for self-improvement and to get a bag, okay? It's actually more so to get the bag than self-improvement. But yeah, I'm taking some science courses, so it'll probably be less impromptu lives, but I'm definitely going to give y'all live on Wednesdays. I'm definitely going to give y'all a live stream on Fridays, and I'm probably going to do some more impromptu ones on the weekends, maybe Saturday or Sunday, and I'll probably throw in, of course, some members-only live streams. So, hey, I just want to give y'all a heads up. If y'all don't see my face as often, y'all know what it is. Let me see. No, I'm not going to. I'm gonna tell y'all because I rock with y'all. But what I'm doing is I'm actually taking courses in science. Now, many moons ago, Royster, you might not believe this. Even though I give up here and I give my take on a lot of topics. Back in the day, your boy was pretty savvy when it came to intellectual property and trademark law. Hey, I was one of the editors on the Biotechnology Pharmaceutical Law Review back in the day. Intellectual property, trademark, and moot court team. I had a lot of experience in litigation with pharmaceutical companies for delisting of patents from the Orange Book and all this other nerdy stuff. So essentially, I am taking courses in science so that I can sit for the trademark patent bar because, of course, I don't have a science degree. I wasn't a biology or chemistry major. I was a failed computer science major turned criminal justice major. So I'm taking courses in biology, chemistry, and physics. I need about 7 courses. Yeah, I need 7 courses. I need 7 courses. I'm in 2 now. And I'm taking courses so I can sit for the patent bar. Once I get these courses, you can kind of wave in without having a science degree. I'm sure you're familiar with it. But yeah, that's why I decided to go back to school. And once I paid for the courses, I'm fucking doing it because those courses was expensive. And you can't get any like scholarships or you can't get scholarships. I couldn't get the VA to thank you. I couldn't get the VA to flip the bill because it's not a degree seeking program. You can get like scholarships and grants and maybe VA assistance if it's a program where I'm trying to get a degree, but I'm not trying to get a degree. I just want to take these specific courses so I can sit for this exam and pass this exam and maybe hit a pivot so I can get a bag. So that's kind of the game plan. That's what I'm doing now. And so far, so good. Isn't that difficult, but it's more time consuming than what I anticipated that it would be. So it's more time consuming than what I anticipated that it will be. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to pivot. Hey, as somebody who was who's a probationary employee and things were kind of crazy, I sat back and thought, you know what would I do if something happened right now and I lost my job? Now, of course, I could go to the private sector, but if I'm gonna go to the private sector, how could I go to the private sector and garner what I think my worth is? And I got an overabsorbed self of I got a probably an overinflated of self. So I think I'm worth probably more than what my actual value is. But shout out to confidence / arrogance. But I thought that this was probably the best route to go, considering I have experience in it, considering that I actually find it interesting. And it's not something that's too time consuming. I think I can have everything done in 12 to 16 months max. I think I can have everything done 12 to 16 months in max, because the best part about it, all of the courses are online. So I'm just like, not like this week, I already took care of all of my assignments for this week. I'm gonna try to do like 3 weeks worth of assignments this week. I'm gonna just weekend, lock in, try to get ahead of the game. And once I get ahead to a point where I'm, 4, 5, 6 weeks up, then I'm gonna go ahead, sign up for another course, and I'm gonna just stack them up. I'd rather go through a difficult situation. I'd rather go through an extremely difficult situation for a short period of time, as opposed to go through a mildly difficult situation for a longer period of time. I take all that shit on right now and just plow through it while I got the energy. Yeah, it's gonna suck. Yeah, I'm gonna be flustered, but I prefer to do it that way. And the pressure is something that like actually works for me. I always perform best when I'm in pressure situations. So that's it. That's why your boy going back to school as a 40-something-year-old old ass man. Yeah. Yeah, there's always some engineering science degree. It's crazy though, because like you really don't need that shit to be able to draft a patent application and defend it in court. Dilution by tarnishment, dilution by blurring. Like these are common concepts that as a law student, I was able to read it and wrap my mind around it. And I actually took like a sample patent bar exam, and you can use the book. And I don't know, maybe this is premature, but I don't think it's that difficult. I will take a course for the patent bar. I think it's like a 3 or 4 week study course. I will do that. The dope thing about the patent bar is you can take it every month. They're offering one. You can take it any month that you want. And with the course, if you actually don't pass it, you stay enrolled in the course until you pass it. But I'm gonna try to one shot, one kill it, of course, because I don't got the bandwidth to be taking those shit over. I can't do it. But that's the game plan. Hopefully things work out. But I thought it would be a good thing to have in my back pocket if and when I decide to pivot. And I'm gonna just be honest, like, hey, between you and I just took a look at the salaries out there for like patent attorneys. At a minimum, the low end minimum jobs would probably double my salary. At a minimum, that's the low end minimum jobs of people who have like no experience. I've had successful lawsuits against Pfizer, Merck, AstraZeneca, where they had to cut over hundreds of millions of dollars to the government. So, I thought it would be something that I could pivot in. And that was kind of my game plan. One and done. Facts. That's the way to go. I ain't got the bandwidth to be failing. And if I fail, I ain't going to tell nobody I'm taking it neither. When it's time to take it, y'all might know, but I ain't going to tell nobody in my family, parents, nobody going to know. I'm just going to, I'll let everybody know after I pass it. That's how I always do it. Yeah. But yo, that's it for this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the outcome of the 2 cases we talked about today. I think the second matter we talked about related to the twerking, I think that was the correct outcome. That woman should, in fact, be in custody. I believe this third matter we talked about, where she deleted her boyfriend and was sketchy on what happened. There was a little bit of capping, disingenuous statements going on. I don't know. I think that the prosecution purposely fucked this one up, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I'm mid-40s, but don't feel like it. I can actually have cats coming from the military down on the PT test, still just for fun. Facts. That's how I feel, man. Like we had like some team building exercises we did at my job, and we was going hiking, and it was funny because my boss was like, everybody like, oh man, look at Marcus. He's so athletic. I was like, it's just a hike. We just walking. But that's how it is when you're military. Like, real talk, I could roll out of bed and do an old school PT test, 2-mile run, push-ups and sit-ups, and I'm going to pass it. Now, afterwards, my left knee might be bothering me, but I'm going to pass that damn test. I guarantee you that 100%. I feel like that. I feel like that in the courtroom. I feel like that on the basketball court. but I only could do it for 15 minutes. You got 15 minutes of pure, like, okay, this guy can hoop. And after that, I turn into a terrible 40-some-odd-year-old man. But I agree with you 100%. Yo, that's it for this video. Y'all have a good one. Friday, we are going to go through an indictment of a pastor who he did something that's shady, but I respect it. He stole. I'm going to tell you what I respect. I respect that this pastor technically didn't steal from his congregation, but he did steal from the government. We're going to dive into that Friday. We're going to go through that indictment. As always, I'm appreciative. I'm grateful for everybody who supports, who watch, comments, the members, all that. If there's anything y'all want me to talk about, hell, if it's something that you want an opinion on, just a take on, we can argue back and forth. Y'all know how to hit me up, officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com. Y'all take care, be blessed, have a good night. Peace.